What would you do if your own parents tried to give away the home you worked years to build? Not to strangers, but to your own brother, completely rent-free. That's exactly what happened to me! My parents wanted my brother's family to move into my duplex without paying a single dollar. But what happened next? No one in my family expect. My name is Michael Carter. I grew up in Ohio, in what most people would call a typical American household. I wasn't the golden child. That title always belonged to my older brother, David Carter. If David got a B in school, my parents threw a small celebration. If I got an A, they barely noticed. It wasn't that they didn't love me, it's just that, somehow, David was always the priority. So I made myself a promise early in life. If I wanted recognition, if I wanted independence, I'd have to earn it myself. Fast forward to my late 20s, I worked 2 jobs, cut corners on everything, skipped vacations, and finally, after years of sacrifice, I bought something I thought no one could take from me. A duplex apartment in Columbus. It wasn't just property, it was my pride. Proof that I, too, had built something that mattered. One evening, my parents invited me and David over for dinner. At first, it felt like a normal family night. Mom, Essie homemade lasagna, dad in his recliner, David cracking jokes like he owned the room. Then my father, Richard Carter, cleared his throat. He had that tone he used whenever he was about to deliver big news. Michael, your brother and his family need a place to stay for a while. We've decided the best option is for them to move into your duplex. I blinked. For a second, I thought I misunderstood. But before I could even ask, my mother smiled and added, of course, they wouldn't be paying rent. Family helps. Family, right? Rent-free! In my duplex. My hard-earned investment being handed over as a free gift. David's wife, Emily, gave me a polite smile, but I could see it in her eyes. This was already settled in their minds. I sat there, frozen. I thought about every night I skipped dinner just to save money. Every time I said no to hanging out with friends because I was working extra hours. Every sacrifice I made to finally buy that property. And now, my parents wanted to give it away. I wanted to scream, "This is mine! Why should David get it for free?" But I didn't. Because in my family, questioning decisions was seen as disrespect. That night, lying awake in my apartment, something inside me shifted. For years, I played the obedient son. But this time, I decided I wasn't going to be silent. I was going to fight back. The next day, I did something no one expected. I told my parents, sure, if David needs it, he can have the duplex. I'll just renovate it first. They looked relieved. My mom hugged me, saying, see? I knew you'd do the right thing. David smirked, as if he'd won some unspoken battle. But what they didn't know was that renovation was just my cover story. Behind the scenes, I contacted a real estate agent. Within 3 weeks, I had new tenants, James and Olivia Walker, a young couple who worked in IT. They loved the duplex and signed a 12-month lease, paying full market rent. I had locked the property down legally, completely, and unshakably. Finally, the day came. My parents and David came with me to inspect the duplex. Before he and Emily moved in, David walked up the driveway like a king about to claim his castle. Emily followed, smiling politely. I unlocked the door, and there they were. James and Olivia, sitting on the couch, sipping coffee in their new home. My mother's face dropped. My father's jaw tightened. David froze mid-step. Who are these people? My dad asked, his voice sharp. I smiled calmly. Oh, these are the new tenants. They've already signed a year-long lease. They're paying rent starting this month. The silence in that room was so sharp, you could hear the clock ticking. David exploded first. You can't do this. This was supposed to be our home. My father's voice thundered. Michael, you betrayed us! We made a decision as a family! And that's when, for the first time in my life, I stood tall and fought back. No, Dad. You made a decision. You never asked me what I wanted. This duplex is mine. I worked for it. I paid for it. And no one, not even my family, gets to take it for free. David can rent an apartment just like everyone else. The words hung in the air like a storm. My parents stared at me, speechless. David's face turned red with anger. Emily looked away, embarrassed. In that moment, the power dynamic of my entire life shifted. The news spread fast among relatives. Some whispered that I was selfish. Others quietly admired me for standing up. But the truth was undeniable. For the first time, my parents realized I wasn't their obedient backup son anymore. I was independent. I had boundaries. David eventually rented a small townhouse across town, and while we still saw each other at family gatherings, things were never the same. The entitlement in his eyes was gone. And me? I wasn't just proud of protecting my property, I was proud of protecting myself. This story isn't really about real estate. It's about self-respect. Family can love you, but sometimes they can also take advantage of you. And if you never draw the line, they'll keep pushing until you lose everything. Respect doesn't come from staying silent. Respect comes from standing up for yourself, Ivan, if it means going against people you love. I learned that boundaries don't make you selfish. They make you strong. My parents wanted my brother's family to move into my duplex without paying. But then, I turned the tables. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't just a younger brother or a son. I was Michael Carter independent, respected, and free.